You're listening to episode 174 of Lifestyle Locker Radio with Catharine Arnston. Hi, I'm Dr. Josh Hant, and welcome to Lifestyle Locker Radio, where we help you create an awesome life and lifestyle. From nutrition to fitness, mindfulness to peak performance, and relationships to money mindset, we bring you on an amazing journey to help you unleash your human potential. So normally we share a little bit about our guests, but I want to challenge you to go back to episode 73 and listen to Catharine's first episode where she tells her story, her why. It is so powerful. Definitely, after you listen to this, you're going to want to dive back into episode 73. But without further ado, here's our guest today, Catharine Arnston. Hey everyone, welcome back to Lifestyle Locker Radio. We have a return guest. We have a superstar in the nutrition world. She is brilliant. She has an amazing product. As you heard, I fueled myself with this product for the last 2 ultra marathons that I've ran, and I'm a raving fan of it. I recommend it to patients. I recommend it to other chiros, and I think it's just an essential thing. So Catharine, welcome. Let's talk performance, food, nutrition, recovery, sciencey, nerdy stuff, and everything above. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Gosh, a return trip, no less. I'm a frequent flyer on lifestyle.
Perfect. So tell me, I've been sharing this with my patients and with people that follow us. I've used both the spirulina and the chlorella with my training and with pushing myself to, like, we'll say, like, abnormal places where people don't normally go in a physical and mental place, doing over a marathon, doing a double marathon and beyond. So I want you to talk about the power of what you have, like your product. It's so amazing. And why I can recover the way I do too.
I feel so fortunate myself to have found algae. I stumbled into it, and I'm 10 years in now researching it and learning more and more about it. And I tell people it will become your best friend, because like your best friend, it will never disappoint you. Algae will never disappoint you. And it continues to be a rock star in so many ways. And in fact, ironically, we started as a sports nutrition product many, many years ago. And then we morphed into the wellness community because they seem to understand the nutrition better. But we still love and support the athletic community and hope that they will learn more about it. So here's the deal. There's 2 main algae that we sell, and there's thousands and thousands of algae strains out there. They fall into 2 main, I guess there's 4 main categories. Algae is a food group, first of all, just like vegetables and fruit. And within algae as a category, you have seaweed, and there's brown and red seaweed, and then you have this category called microalgae. And then within microalgae, just like if you take fruit, you have different kinds of apples. You have granny and delicious. Well, just like within microalgae, then you have spirulina, which is a blue-green algae, and you have a green algae like chlorella. So we focus on the microalgae, one called spirulina, which is a blue-green, and chlorella, which is a green. And they do completely different things in your body, and that's what we're going to get into. So spirulina is the blue-green algae, and we call ours EnergyBits because it does give you energy mentally and physically. There's no smoke and mirrors here. It's just the remarkable nutrient profile of spirulina that meets the biochemical needs of the body just like a gorgeous orchestra will give you this wonderful blend of music. There's nothing else in the world that delivers the kind of nutrient power that gives you this energy. Now, it's not lightning bolts from the sky, so you're not going to feel like Superman about to leap off a tall building in a single bound, but what it does do is it gives you unlimited steady energy. I call it quiet energy because you almost notice that it's not there, but what you do notice is that you never fatigue. You never get brain fog. You just keep on going. You run further, you run faster, you lift more, you lift longer. And it doesn't keep you up at night either. It's not that kind of energy. It's just a really quiet, it's like you've had a great night's sleep or a walk in the fresh air and you just feel alert and ready. And so the reason why it does that, again, as I said, is not smoke and mirrors, it's just nutrition. So I'll walk you through some of the nutrients that help you with why it works so well. First of all, spirulina has the highest concentration of protein in the world. Ours is 64% protein, and one of the critical things about that protein is it's already in amino acid form. Normally, your body, when you eat animal protein, it could take up to 2 to 3 days to digest, and you need all the enzymes and coenzymes, and you end up only with about 10% of the protein being absorbed as aminos. But in spirulina, the protein's already in aminos, so it's very bioavailable. I call it efficient nutrition because you absorb 99% of it, and you absorb it instantly. Here's the other cool thing about spirulina. It technically is a bacteria. There is no cellulose wall on the outside of the spirulina. So there's nothing for your body to have to break down to get access to all the protein and the 40 other vitamins and minerals that I'm going to talk about in a minute. So that's the other reason why it's what I call efficient nutrition. It literally never even gets digested. It just gets absorbed rapidly, instantly if you chew it. Although most people, I will say, swallow it because it does have its own unique chewy flavor. That's a tough flavor to get around. So swallowing it gives you every single benefit that you get from chewing. It just takes maybe about 5 minutes longer. But
yeah, so I'm going to pause you for a second, because when we first met at a conference, I was with another chiropractor, and I said something in our last episode. You gave me, I don't know if it was someone on your team, gave me a cup, but you were there, and I'm like, there's no water. They're like, you could just chew it. And there were 30 of them in this little cup, and I'm like, my whole mouth would turn like blue-green. It was rough. I'm like, I need water. Oh God, I remember that pretty well.
Yeah, I take no offense. We just want people to benefit from it, and so there's no shame. In fact, I may have told you before, we made stickers, and I have a website that says it's okay to swallow. So yeah. We're a little sassy. We don't take that to family-friendly events, but most people do swallow it. It doesn't matter. You get the same nutrient value. It just takes about 5 minutes longer. So the high protein, which is virtually immediately absorbed and 99% bioavailable, and of course protein is what converts into glucose and therefore energy. By the way, while we're talking about protein, this does not stimulate the mTOR pathway. This can be an issue when you're older. As you know, protein does stimulate mTOR pathway. When you're young, that's great because you want to build lots of muscle, but when you're older, it could stimulate cancer cells. So again, great protein, instant absorption, no stimulation of the mTOR pathway, only really great access to the plant protein. The other thing that works really well to provide you with the energy is the B vitamins. Spirulina has all of the B vitamins. And before we get off the protein topic, it's a complete protein. So it has 18 of the 20 aminos, including the ones your body can't create. But the B vitamins are what give you energy. That's why B vitamins are in energy drinks. And B vitamins are what convert the glucose to energy. So you're completely locked and loaded with all your B vitamins. Algae, particularly spirulina, have the highest concentration of iron in the world. Now, iron is what carries oxygen in your blood, and of course, you need oxygen to feel to be energized. And so, not only does it provide you with the medium to carry the oxygen, algae is also alkaline, and when you're athletic, as you know, you throw off lactic acid. And so the lactic acid, what it does momentarily is it causes your blood pH to become acidic. And when that happens, the hemoglobin sticks together and can no longer carry the iron atoms, so no longer have oxygen access, and the atoms become so thick that they can't get to your tiny capillaries. Because the algae is alkaline, it instantly restores the pH back to the neutral pH it should be, so that your hemoglobin stays in the healthy round shape that it should be, so it can continue to carry the oxygen and it can continue to get into the tiny capillaries. Years ago, I used to talk at triathlon clubs, and I used to get peppered with all these questions. Hey, how can something with 1 calorie give me energy? I don't believe you. So this is why I did deep dives into the science. I said, well, I'm going to find out why this stuff works, because it works. We have Olympic athletes, we fuel NHL teams. So there's probably another 50 reasons, but it also has what's called boron, and boron is an important mineral that helps your brain functioning. And so, spirulina also is loaded with essential fatty acids, which also helps with your brain functioning. This all helps with your brain focus. When you're an athlete and you're out there doing whatever you're doing, the first thing to go when you fatigue is your focus. And if you're not focused, it's really hard to stay on point with whatever you're doing, whether it's lifting or running. So the fact that the essential fatty acids and the boron and the very high in antioxidants, these all help your brain and your body function at optimal levels. There are 40 other vitamins and minerals. It has all the electrolytes, which of course are critical because you want to maintain that your fluid levels, because that can also drain you literally. So it's pretty amazing. And because it gets absorbed so quickly, it never causes digestive distress. A lot of athletes use goo or gels or bars that are carb and sugar based, and they cause stomach distress when you're because when you're athletic, you don't have the enzymes to help with the digestion. They're difficult anyways for most people. The algae gets so absorbed so quickly, it never causes stomach distress. And I would like to also point out that, to my knowledge, we are the only vegan and keto sports nutrition product, period, out there. So the algae, both of them are ketogenic. So again, doesn't zero carbs, does not decrease your ketones. So it's great for intermittent fasting, and maybe we can talk about that later on. But for a performance fuel, it can't be beat.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question, because when I do these ultra distance events, I could be going from 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 24 plus hours. Right. Is there a maximum I want to take, or is there like a cap I should put on it? Because I intermittently went through between the spirulina in the beginning, then I would add in a few hours later, I had chlorella, then I would go back to spirulina, then I would just go back and forth. And I didn't know when there was a stop point, but I felt great, so I didn't stop.
Well, it's a great question. And in fact, about an hour ago, we had one of our long-term customers visiting us. She lives in Reno. We're in Boston. She happened to be in town, so she popped in, and we took a short video of her because she's also an ultra marathoner. She does 100-mile races only on EnergyBits. And she took me aside. She says, I worried for a while because sometimes I love these things so much. She's also a cancer survivor. She says, sometimes I would have 300 in a day. Is that too much? And I assured her that it's never too much, because algae is just a plant. It's a crop. It's no different than kale or broccoli, except it doesn't have any of the downsides of plants because it has no phytic acid or anti-nutrients. And I personally, I have at least 100 of the chlorella tablets every day and have for about 8 years because I just absolutely love it so much. It's my favorite food. For the average athlete, though, we sell them in single servings, and you can get them on Amazon or through practitioners like yourself. On our website, we only sell the large bags of 1,000 tablets, but the single servings are really handy for athletes, and they're packaged with 30 tablets in a pouch. So if you're doing a race, we encourage you to take the full 30 tablets, but we realize also with because we started with athletes, and so they're high performance people, so they needed the 30. If you're a light runner and you're just kind of getting into sports and nutrition, feel free to just take 10 or 15 before your run to see how that goes. And if that gives you the energy that you need, that's terrific. But for high performance athletes, we strongly encourage you to take the full 30, 5 or 10 minutes before your race, and then tuck a couple of extra packets in your shorts, because maybe an hour or two later, when your energy is starting to flag, swallow another 10 or 15 or swallow another 30. But to help you with your energy levels and your focus, that's what you want, the EnergyBits, which is the spirulina. And you can take them every hour. You can take them one or two at a time, forever, however long you like.
Okay. That was going back and forth. I was doing spirulina, then chlorella, and spirulina, and just like kind of.
Well, we try to help people keep it really simple. So let's talk a little bit about chlorella, because generally we suggest chlorella after the race. So
after the race,
spirulina, is the pre-workout and the during the workout, and then the chlorella is after, although I'll give you some reasons why there's some exceptions to that. So as I mentioned, spirulina is a great way to fuel. Chlorella is completely different from spirulina, and it showed up on Earth 1 billion years after spirulina. Spirulina, as I mentioned, is technically a bacteria. Chlorella does belong to the plant kingdom, and in fact, you remember spirulina has no cellulose wall. Chlorella has the hardest cellulose wall in the plant kingdom, so hard that it needs to be cracked at production, and I'll tell you a little bit of detail about that. So the reason why I mentioned the hard cellulose wall is because that's what attaches to toxins, including lactic acid. So it will not only chelate mercury, lead, radiation, alcohol, it will also chelate and pull out lactic acid. So most athletes use it after their workout to pull out the lactic acid. Now, because it has this hard cellulose wall, unlike spirulina that gets into your bloodstream almost instantly, chlorella takes a good hour or so to fully integrate. So if you want to start pulling the lactic acid out earlier, you can take it earlier. But we try to make it easy for people, so we say take the EnergyBits beforehand and the chlorella recovery bits afterwards. That's why we call it recovery bits, by the way. It helps you recover from your sports, or recover from drinking, or recover your health, or recover from an illness. That hard cellulose wall is that pulls out the toxins, including the lactic acid. But the other cool thing about chlorella is that it has the highest concentration of chlorophyll in the world. Spirulina has the highest protein. Chlorella has the highest chlorophyll. That's why it's called chlorella. And chlorophyll is very cleansing. So whenever you push yourself hard, whether it's on a race or working out or whatever it is, that's really hard on your immune system. And a lot of athletes we've talked to, especially marathon runners, they often get a cold after they finish their race because they've been pushing so hard, right? So the chlorophyll in chlorella will help prevent that. It will, and so particularly if you've been taking it while you're training and definitely while you're on the race. So that's why it's not just something you should take just once for the race. You need to be taking both of them for the whole time period. Frankly, we encourage people to take them every day, everyone every day, and we'll talk about it in a minute. It can be a food-based replacement for your vitamins and certainly your sports nutrition. So the chlorella is very much a recovery algae. It pulls out the toxins, the chlorophyll builds your immune system, but that's not where it ends. I mean, there's more. So it also has it has all your 40 vitamins and minerals, including all the electrolytes, but it has your highest concentration of RNA and DNA, which is important as you age because that gets damaged. So if you want a long history or future of running, you want to keep sure that your body is regenerating itself in a healthy. Chlorella will help with that. It also has something called chlorella growth factor, which you mentioned you sprained your ankle. This is an interesting substance. They didn't know what to call it, but it helps your cells grow back healthier, faster. Chlorella is the fastest growing organism in the world. So if you do injure yourself or have surgery, it helps your cells grow back faster. And with all the RNA, it will help it grow even healthier. It also has the daily requirement of something called vitamin K2. Now, the interesting thing about K2 is that virtually everyone in the Western world is deficit in it. What K2 does is it moves excess calcium from soft tissue like your brain, your blood vessels, your skin, your organs, and moves it into your bones where it should be. But the problem is everyone's taking calcium and they're taking D3 to help with absorption of calcium. And this is important for athletes too, because you want strong bones, right, when you're running or doing anything. But the calcium's not going to your bones unless you have K2. And the reason why is there's virtually no food sources that contain K2 except grass-fed animal protein and algae, particularly the chlorella algae. The reason why it's not in our food supply is back in the 60s, up until the 60s, animals were grazing on pasture, and animals have a bacteria in their gut that can convert the green K1 in grass or anything green, and they can convert it to K2. So when we would eat the grass-fed animal protein, we humans would absorb the K2. But back in the 60s or 70s, the farmers found out that if you fed the cattle corn and you moved them into enclosures, they would fatten up faster and they would make more money. So they moved, that's what they did. So no more green for the animals. They were starting to, everything was corn fed, which is acidic and, unhealthy in many ways. But that happened in the early 70s. And if you look at any charts, it exactly parallels the rise of heart disease. Heart disease is calcification of your blood vessels. Did you know that? They're realizing Alzheimer's is partly calcification of your brain. So we're excited to I do lab tests, and we found out that the daily requirement of K2 is in the chlorella algae. So now when you take, you shouldn't even take calcium supplements, first of all, but it's in the algae and it's in lots of other food. But now with the K2, the calcium is moving into your bones where it should be to ensure your strength as either as a child or as an adult, whatever you do, and it's not causing problems in other parts of your body. Isn't that fascinating?
I think that's great. I mean, it's essential. All right, it's totally essential for living.
Exactly. Well, that's why I geek out on this stuff, and everybody else is sleeping, and I've got the light on, and I'm pouring over it. Oh my God, do you believe this? And you can Google K2 on the internet, or Google boron. All this stuff is out there, but unless you don't know what you don't know, right? So unless you're aware of it, you don't even know to look for it. So. So I'm very happy to be educating people. And one of the things I'm very proud of, and we can talk about this too, whether you're an athlete or a road warrior traveling, it's really, we're so busy and our lives are so complex and we're multitasking all the time. So I am so happy to offer and have algae for people, both the spirulina and the chlorella, because it simplifies your life. They travel easily. You can take them with you in your gym bag, your handbag, your carry-on. You'll always have proper nutrition. They're easy to digest. You don't need to cook them or clean them or do anything for it. And you just know you're safe. Our algae we're the only algae that's endorsed by doctors and nutritionists and even Olympic athletes because of the purity and the safety and the toxin-free nature. So if you want to simplify your life and get your best performance at work or at play, you just can't beat algae. It's really that simple.
Yeah. So I want to circle back because I was thinking about this, and this I'm just going to bounce the thought off you. And I mentioned going back and forth between the spirulina and the chlorella, especially for like an ultra distance event.
Yes.
As your body's producing that lactic acid, if I'm running for 15 hours or 24 hours, whatever it is, I mean, I'm going to start to have some of that soreness even kick in during the run. So, I mean, maybe like that detox, and also because when you sweat, don't you detox when you sweat? Right,
you're sweating is a method by which your body does release toxins. Yeah, your breathing also releases it. Yes.
Yeah, because when we start to burn fat, we release toxins that are in our fat. So if we have just my thought, if we have the chlorella in there, it can sop up some of the stuff that we're releasing before it gets circled back in. And and that may be why my double marathon, the 52 miles that I ran, I had 0% of soreness, none. And people are like, how is that even possible?
I know. I'm so glad you mentioned that because I can hardly wait till more people understand what algae is and how amazing it is if you get it from a good source. So to answer your question, I would suggest for long runs like that you do cycle in. You spirulina, and then maybe a half hour, an hour later, do a dose of the chlorella, 15 or 30 tablets, and then circle back in another hour or two and have some more spirulina and cycle back, because that way it is constantly pulling out the lactic acid. And on that note, we fuel 5 NHL teams, and what they actually put the spirulina, they put 3 servings, so 90 tablets of spirulina and 90 tablets of chlorella into their smoothie before the game, because they want this energy for on the ice, and they want to have the lactic acid being pulled out while they're still playing. So that's another great example for a high performance athlete, where they blend the two of them. We even sell a product called EnergyBits, which blends the two of them. So you can take them separately, you can take them together. They're sort of like a perfect marriage. They just complement one another beautifully, and they do completely different things in your body. So the spirulina will never, chlorella will never satisfy your hunger, but
Uh-huh.
even though it still has 60% protein, you think, well, that should do the trick, but it doesn't. It just doesn't satisfy your hunger like the spirulina does. So we work with surgeons, truck drivers, anybody who wants focus. And I also tell people, Mother Nature, because I'm really I don't create this stuff. We grow it in triple filtered spring mountain water, but this was Mother Nature's invention. We're just the proud company that's introducing it to the world. But I said she has a sense of humor because she gives us spirulina to give us energy to go to the races or go to a party or do whatever. And then she gave us chlorella that can help pull out the toxins from whatever we did, so we can do it again the next day.
Yeah, the yin and the yang.
Yeah, and it's also good for any age group. It doesn't matter whether you have a newborn or whether you have a granddad, and pets love it as well. It's just so that's the true test whether your pet will eat it, because they're very smart, our animals.
Yeah, and it's funny. I was thinking as you're saying, like I think I had about 240 combined tablets during the race. I'm just trying to think how many times I took it. But yeah.
Well, I will point out, because they both do have such high protein and your body needs water to help with the processing of protein. We would encourage you to, keep hydrated while you're taking that much. And also, don't be upset or worried if when you go to the bathroom, your poop is a little green, because it's all that chlorophyll. And you should be, I call it a badge of honor if you have green poop, because it shows that the chlorophyll has moved through your liver and down through your colon, and it absorbs toxins, carcinogens, and more lactic acid. And it's very healing to your body. So just be aware that's a good sign.
Yeah. All right. Good note. It was when you said the other athlete took 300, and you're taking 100 a day. I'm like, so it probably wasn't that bad, me doing what I did at all. Probably really good.
Well, and just so anyone's listening, you certainly don't need 100 to perform at your peak. Some people only need 15 tablets, or as I say, we recommend 30. But when you're doing an ultra marathon, that's high test energy on a very long period of time over a long distance, and you're not eating anything else. So, and this maintains your muscle. It regenerates your muscles, so you don't have any muscle loss. And as I mentioned, it's ketogenic, so it supports every lifestyle and dietary,
which is great. So I know we mentioned performance, recovery. What do you see like the next group of? I know you mentioned like big companies are going to start finding you because they're going to realize in the wellness world that, holy cow, like this needs to be part of everything that everybody is doing, nutrition wise. Where do you see EnergyBits going in the next couple of years?
Oh, well, I'm hoping to build $1 billion brand, not because I want the money, because, to be honest, I've never even paid myself during this whole time. And all my money goes back to the company, to our customers, to our team. Because I want us to be a positive influence in the world. And so, and we've bootstrapped ourselves. We haven't taken any investment, although I was on Shark Tank. They didn't invest. And we've turned down investors. But I know that we can support other groups who are helping so many with nutrition or fitness, or there's so many things I'd like to do. And if we can build our company to be a success financially, we'll have the leverage, the visibility, the budget to support other groups. I want to be big enough that we can donate this to disaster areas or school lunches or nursing homes. So I'm in this for life.
Yeah,
I'm an healthy lifer.
That's really neat that you said schools. I think that would be like profound.
Oh, totally. I mean, it's a game changer. Even if we can just get two little tablets to kids every day. We have mothers already sending us pictures of their kids with their report cards with A+, and they were saying my daughter, my son had ADHD and was failing miserably, and now they can focus because they have the algae. So we know it works. We know we probably have thousands of testimonials from people. but it just takes a while. And 20 years ago, nobody knew about stevia. 15 years ago, nobody knew about chia. Nobody knew about quinoa. These are all foods that have been used for centuries in other countries, but it took some brave, crazy person like myself to introduce it to America so that in a way that they wouldn't be threatened by it and they can understand it. And it's taken us a long time to build the trust and get the pack. We just redesigned everything so that we have new packaging. So I know this is a game changer for the world. And I want to be big enough that we can grow our own here in America.
Yeah.
And I have visions of having a display, sort of like a Disneyland, but for algae, and school buses coming in and learning how algae grows. It's the most sustainable, eco-friendly crop in the world. There's nothing wrong with algae except nobody knows about it. That's the only thing that's wrong with it.
Yeah.
But in Asia, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and everybody knows about it. But it's only here in North America, or quite honestly, outside of Asia, where it's unknown. So I'm 10 years into this, and we're just starting to get some visibility. But I'm so excited about the future, because I tell people, if you thought CBD oil was big, just wait till you see what happens when people discover algae. It was the first life on Earth 4 billion years ago, and it's just waiting to be discovered here. And we're so grateful, and I'm so grateful to be given the opportunity to educate people. So it's about to get exciting.
Very cool. And I know we mentioned this on the last episode, but I've had these conversations with my patients. Like, what makes your algae different? And I know we mentioned maybe it's the chlorella in the processing that they've asked. I've spoken to them about. I'm like, don't just go and buy whatever you see at the health food store. This is the one you need to get. And then take them to the old episode, but say it again, because I think it's important.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things. There's always a variety, whether you're buying shoes or meat, in the quality, and so people want and need and deserve to know why ours is a little bit more expensive than what you might find at Target or on Amazon. And there's a number of different reasons. First of all, just like other foods, there are different strains of algae. So some have higher nutrients in them, and some have higher protein. So we use the highest strains. So there's always the highest nutrient value. Number two is algae will absorb whatever's in the water. So just like you wouldn't go get a glass of water from a swamp, because that would be poisonous. Algae that grows in the ocean or in lakes or other places is going to be poisonous because it absorbs whatever toxins are in the water. So we use triple filtered spring mountain water. Our algae is grown in Taiwan, and that ensures that the algae itself is pristine and clean. A lot of other algae companies don't take that much care, and so that you do run the risk of having neurotoxins and other toxins included in the algae, which they often don't even test for. Then there's the process. We don't use high heat to dry the algae. We air dry it. Most of those other companies that sell it for less expensive prices use flash heat because they have to get the product to market quickly. That kills the enzymes, number one, and it destroys some of the nutrient value. So now you're getting a subpar product, which you don't get with ours. Then there's the tableting process. We don't mix it with anything. We don't put any binders in it. We don't put anything into it. If you buy it as a capsule, I've got pictures of Chinese companies that ground up rocks to blend in with the algae. It's imperceptible to the eye, but it makes it look like you're getting more for less. But we've always had people telling us that they need less of ours to get a better outcome from some of these other products. So, and then we package it in what's called UV protected bags, because any light will pull the chlorophyll out of the algae if it's exposed through a glass jar or something. So those are the core things that we do for both spirulina and chlorella. And then there's this extra feature with chlorella. As I mentioned, it has a very hard cellulose wall that needs to be cracked, or your body could not absorb the nutrients. So I'm very grateful to a company called Sun Chlorella, who are based in Japan, and they were the first company back in the 60s who figured out how to grow algae, especially chlorella, for mass consumption. So I'm very grateful to them. And they also figured out that you had to crack the chlorella or your body couldn't absorb it. So I'm grateful for them because they patented a technique that now virtually everybody in the industry uses. And what that technique to crack chlorella is that they tumble it with glass beads, so it physically smashes the algae exterior. But the problem is the glass heats up and lead from the glass leaks into the chlorella. And they denied that that was happening. And then the state of California tested and found they had excess amounts of lead in the chlorella. So the problem is not just with some chlorella, the problem is 99% of all chlorella that's on the market uses their technique, so it all has lead in it. So when I was starting the company almost 10 years ago, I heard that that might be a problem. So I said, we've got to find some other technique because I'm not having lead in my chlorella, that's for sure. And we did find there was a new technique, which is what we use. And we passed the chlorella through a sound chamber, and it's the vibrations that crack the chlorella. So there's no heat, no lead. And that's why biological dentists love to work with us, because they know that, you know, the algae can pull out the mercury, but it's not introducing lead at the same time. So that's a very, very important factor.
And I think that's really insane that that's even allowed.
I know.
It was lead, and I just read something or heard something. I don't remember where I heard it. Like there is zero except like in the blood, like if they see lead in the blood is like zero, whatever the number is, like zero is allowed, not like 0.1 or not 0.0000001, 0% or whatever. And they're allowed to have that in, and you put it in your system and you're going to try to take it back out with the same chlorella.
I guess so. But it just doesn't make any sense to me. But you know, the situation is, you have to understand is, you know, we only know so much at a certain time frame, and so people generally do their best at that moment. And then what happens is, then you become more informed. But the problem is, and this is what the problem is with our food supply, they're so invested in the old techniques and the old supply chain that it's too expensive and too time consuming for them to change. That's why the food industry is a dinosaur, and that's why you need to rely on small innovative companies like mine, and there's plenty of other ones, either keto and, you know, whether Ancient Nutrition or Vital Pro. There's lots of really great little companies, because we don't have the legacy that large companies have to, you know, we just go out there and we find something great and we make it happen. It's really hard for old established companies to make that shift. They're learning that they better shift because the market is shifting. And so I'm just very proud that, you know, you have to remember, I started this company as a result of my younger sister getting breast cancer. I wasn't planning on building a company. I just wanted to help my sister. And then I started helping more people, and I just kept going. So I, from the very beginning, insisted that everything we do be holistic and healthy and natural and pure and integrity. And that's the kind of company I'm building. You know, fortunately, that's how other people are also building their companies. So I don't feel quite as alone as I did before. But so I'm proud of what we do, and I'm proud of our product, and I'm so grateful for folks like you who help share the knowledge and the science, so that people can see that we're doing something that's really helpful. It's
fantastic. And for everybody listening, Lifestyle Locker we do have a coupon code that you can share, or you can use, called Lifestyle Locker. Just plug that in on EnergyBits. Is it energybits.com?
Yes. So the website is energybits.com. And when you go to a shopping cart, there'll be a little coupon box, and just type in Lifestyle Locker, all one word, doesn't matter if it's uppercase or lowercase. And that will always give you 20% off anything you purchase. And
I want you to have this stuff, people. It's going to be something you're going to notice a difference. And I can tell you just personally, I've done 2 ultra marathons. I've had other food along the way, but nothing has made the biggest difference as far as energy and really recovery. Like if you can recover fast, that shows you're a good athlete. If you're the guy or gal that can is stumbling at can barely walk, that means your nutrition was really bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I swear by this stuff, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. And I think everybody just give it a shot. Get yourself one of the big bags. If you're an athlete, get the single packets. That's what I run with. I grab a bunch of them. You know, I don't know how many I run with. I probably run with 300 or 400 of these things in my race vest, because I don't want to run out, you know, if I need to. But I think it's essential for, normal everyday life. We take it daily, but I think also if you're a high performer, this is going to be like that little thing that may have a big shift, and you're going to go, holy cow.
Yeah, I say they're tiny but mighty.
Yeah.
The other thing I'd like to point out is, if you're not ready to really make that step to buy the full bag, we do sell single servings on Amazon. So they're $4 each. So you can try a couple and then come back to the EnergyBits.com website to use the Lifestyle Locker discount code, and then you're good to go. We're just here to educate people and help them be their best. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And just to recap, the EnergyBits are the spirulina that gives you the energy and the focus, and are great for intermittent fasting. And the recovery bits are the chlorella, which help you recover and pull out toxins and build your immune system. And you can cycle through them at the same time, take them at the same time if that's easier. But for sure, take the spirulina in the morning, pre-workout, afternoon, and definitely the recovery bits after your workout and at night, because your body goes through a detox cycle when you sleep anyways. So this helps with the cycling. So
Great.
yeah, and besides, I take so many of them. I figure I'm going to live forever. So I need my friends. I need people around me that I know that will be hanging out with me when I'm 120.
Exactly. Perfect. Well, everyone, Catharine Arnston, holy cow, you're a superstar. I appreciate what you do. What you did for your family, which is very powerful. I mean, it's very emotional to me that like you just stepped aside and went to save a life, but now you're impacting lots of people, not just in the performance world, but in the world, right? And I will be on your side. I hope this gets into schools. I mean, that would be so amazing. I hope this gets to the young generations, because they're so toxic. That this can help clean them out and clean them up a little bit, open their eyes and their minds and their bodies a little bit. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining us again on Lifestyle Locker Radio. And our motto is unleashing your human potential, and that's what you're doing. So thank you. Unleashed. There we go. Perfect. So Catharine, thank you so much. And this is not, I'm sure, not our last conversation on Lifestyle Locker Radio, right? Well, we'll see you soon, all right?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, I hope you loved that episode with Catharine Arnston. She is a superstar, as you know, in the nutrition world. I absolutely love this product, and I'll be running a bunch of ultra-distance events this year, and I will be powering myself with, believe it or not, EnergyBits and recovery bits as well, both the spirulina and the chlorella. So make sure you head over to EnergyBits.com. Use the code Lifestyle Locker, get that 20% off. And then when you're done there, head back over to iTunes and give us that 5-star review and share the episode with someone you love and care about. I'm Dr. Josh Han. I want to thank you again. Have a great day, evening, or night. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.